Are we ready?
We don't have video. Hey, Darren, nobody has video except we can only see your smiling face.
That might not be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I agree with Tanner.
Does everybody look a little rough this morning?
Yeah, I'll work on video if you want to start with audio. So I'll try to bring.
Okay, well, we'll start with audio then. Okay, what's the time?
The time is 10:19.
The time is 10:19. We'll call this meeting to order. Mark, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Thank you. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a
Burke
motion.
makes the motion to approve. Do I hear a second?
Ellen seconds.
Ellen seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, I would say that that's a unanimous aye. If it's not, let me know. We have a finance update from Tanner. Tanner, are you ready?
I don't really know anymore. I'll give it my best shot.
Okay.
I have just emailed out to you all a PDF file that has 2028 year-to-date column in it. So if you can pull that up, great. Otherwise, maybe I can screen share. I've never done this before, so
You should be able to screen. There you go. Yes.
Is that working?
Yes,
It is now. I got it.
I've got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, beginning at the top, property tax revenues, so far we've collected $281,461. We have recorded $4,598 in abatements for this year. And you'll see to the right of that where it says abatements report, that little table there, that's information I received from the county regarding Gold Hill North. These are important to us for two reasons. One, it does affect revenue. Two, Gold Hill North is party to a reimbursement agreement with us. So these abatements will affect the reimbursement calculation, effectively reducing our obligation to reimburse the property owner since they've already been compensated through reduced property tax. So anyway, that's sort of the math when processing that tip reimbursement. Let's see, that's it for revenue. So net revenue for the year so far, $276,263. You can see under expenditures, we haven't spent much money. So, professional services, $695. Travel training, $236. That was our workshop held at the Country Lodge discussing the car. Let's see, county treasurer fees. Those are approximately 3% as revenues. The county was hold with their fee for collecting and remitting our revenue. Living station improvement. This is $4,997.50, rounded to $4,998, is the sum of the NES invoices we've received so far. And those are listed, amounts are listed to the right. They're under NES, so screw them in real fast so you can see the amount of the invoices. When discussing this earlier on, my recollection is the board thought we'd be at around $3,500 and we'd be sharing these costs with the several others, and at this point, one of the others has left the project, so there are fewer to share in the cost, and the reiterations that have been drawn have cost a little more than anticipated. So we're currently at $49.97.50, and still incurring some costs with NES. We have not paid any bond debt or loan payment to city yet. Those are coming up. Due dates, I think, for the bond payments are June 1st, and for the city payment, I believe is June 30th. I do plan to issue those payments as budgeted and scheduled, so if there's any concern there, let me know. Total expenditures year to date, $13,730. You can see where that leaves us in the bottom line.
Tanner, are you done? I have a question.
Yep.
Okay. Any monies that we had left over from our budget from last year, does that just roll over into this year? Or do we lose that into something else? I'd like to hear.
That money is reflected in the fund balance at the very bottom of the page.
Yes. I see. Okay. And that rolled over into this year's, didn't it?
Yeah, no, the 2019 actual column is not shown because I've been waiting for the audit to be complete so I can input those figures. If you want, I can update this with the 2019 projected so you can see what the ending fund balance is projected to be. Or you can derive that. Let's see if we do C2455 and subtract the 43,532. Fund balance of 38,913 to begin the year.
Tanner, you're real hard to hear. It sounds like you're in a box.
Is better?
Okay, repeat what you just said because I didn't quite understand it.
The 2019 year-end fund balance, or 2020 beginning fund balance, should be $38,913.
Okay.
Now there may be some changes to that based on what information comes back from the auditors after they've completed the audit, the annual audit of the city's financial records for 2019.
Okay.
Our fund is a component fund of the city, and so it's a part of that audit. And whenever that information comes back to us, I'll update the 2019 actual column, and we'll see what the ending fund balance really is. But right now I have it at $38,913. That's
Okay.
essentially the bank account balance. Okay, that's the unrestricted, unassigned fund balance in our fund. Now that carries forward into this year, and then looking at the 2020 budget, we're projecting positive net revenues of $43,542. So if we stay on budget, then we will close the 2020 year with a fund balance of $82,455.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Are there any questions from the other board members? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the development proposals for Woodland Station. Update on the negotiating committee. Tanner, you want to take that still?
Sure. Bear with me while I figure out how to stop sharing this screen. Oh, wait, there it is. All right, and figure out how to share a different file.
can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Just can't see
Good.
anybody.
I know we can't see you either,
Okay.
but I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you have sound this time.
Me too.
Okay, can everyone see this?
Yes,
Jan, did you have your hand up?
Yes, I can't see anything unless Tanner is screen sharing. Then I see what he shares, but the other screen is gone again.
All the video is somehow blocked right now, and the city has to fix that because we don't have access to it.
Okay, thanks, Murph.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Go ahead, Tanner.
on your screen, hopefully, you see the latest drawing from NES. This represents the most up-to-date version of the concept that we have a depiction of. Now, there are a number of changes that have been requested to be made to the document, and we can go through some of those if you want, but those changes have been sent to NES, and John at NES intends to revise the drawing accordingly, and we should have something updated within the next week or two, I would hope. And that should be our final or real
Okay,
close to
so
it.
this is the current one. This is what our $4,000 has paid for to get us to this point.
So far.
Okay. Can the whole board see this? Do you have comments on it? Well, I don't know what that was, but it didn't sound good. Was someone trying to talk?
Mary Jo, I have a comment if that's appropriate.
Okay, go ahead. Is this George?
No, this is Mike.
This is Mike. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
I just. Hopefully that's not my feedback there. One of the proposals, Mary Jo, just so that you know, is down in the far left bottom corner.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
Portable rodeo.
Okay,
concept.
back up and say all after far in the bottom far left of the corner.
Okay, Mary Jo and I have discussed, as well as Tanner, and I think it's been proposed to the research committee, just letting Mary Jo know that far left bottom corner, which I believe would be the southwest
Yes.
of the property, is where we're proposing the portable rodeo area.
Okay,
Just wanted to let you know that.
great. That's great. Okay. Okay, is there any comment from the rest of the board on that?
I like the rodeo idea.
Thank you, Jan. Any further comment? Well, hearing none, that sounds great. We'll move forward on that. We have given some dimensions out for two proposals, and we'll see how they fit and how that materializes. Is there any questions on the upper part, the plaza, open plaza event space, the outdoor entertainment? Then we still have the issue of the beef jerky building. Any comment on that?
I have one. Board, I'm sorry, I just saw an email from John Romero at NES about that building. There are some renderings here, so I'm going to forward this over right now. And if I can move these files to my laptop, I can probably share those renderings as well.
Okay.
we still have on the table a request to approve the concept for this building, as it's a pretty crucial component of the overall development and is phase one. So it's something we need to decide whether it's appropriate and acceptable and approved or not. And we kind of left that hanging and need to get back to it. So take a look at these files that I just sent over to you. And
Mike, can I add? Okay, sorry.
if you have any objections or questions.
Okay.
Tanner, are you emailing that to each of us, or
Yep.
is that going to come on the screen?
Well, I'm trying to do both.
Okay.
Let me send this over to you. Okay.
Is what's that for? 2,000 square feet. So that's
Tanner, you still working on this, or should we?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any comment about, oh, this is the drawing. Okay, that's what it would look like. Now, this is a viewing area above the beef jerky shop. Is that correct? It looks open, so that would indicate it's probably a viewing area.
I'll add in, no, that's really not, now the size of the building may be what he went for, or maybe he's going under something previous, but that's not anything like the concept. If you outlined the exterior components of it, it may be close, and it probably is pretty close, so that you get a visual of the size of it. But no, it doesn't have that upper viewing area. It doesn't have the columns. But I don't even know how John come up with that. But anyway, we must have had some discussion, because it absolutely kind of outlines the size appropriateness of it. But the building would be nothing like that.
Well, that's good news.
so we're,
Yikes.
yeah. What we are holding on to actually be able to present those drawings is, we didn't want to facilitate our draftsman or architect, I'm not sure which he is, but he works with George, until we knew that it was appropriate to have that building there. Now, we thought it accentuated and still made the mountain look good and drew you into the project. But before the board had an opportunity to review that, we didn't want to do the full-scale drawings, and obviously they didn't want to do, as we talked to the architect draftsman, he thought it was best to have a footprint before he did a rendering, an elevation rendering. So that's, I guess John helped us with this, but I wasn't even aware that he had anything to draw from. But it is, again, the exterior heights, widths, with the exception of the box shaped to the left, the gray box to the left would probably have more of a slant to it. It wouldn't have that flat roof there. So it would be angling down toward that burgundy vehicle. Yeah, it would. That's my understanding. Again, we haven't put a footprint on it to know exactly. We definitely haven't done the drawing layout. George has done somewhat of that, but it's not been given to architect draftsman to know for sure. But I would assume you'd have an angle down toward that burgundy vehicle on the left, and other than that, probably the size appropriations are fairly accurate.
So Mike, this is Elijah Murphy, AKA
Yes.
Murph.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So you're still looking at the head frame concept? The one that was proposed that you just used the head frame to show something like what you wanted to do, but it looks like an old mine head frame with those steeply slanted roof and everything?
Correct. I think
Okay.
the actual name of the outline would be Yankee Girl Mine, in fact, if you want to Google it. But of course, it wouldn't. It's a pretty couple 100-year-old mine, or at least 100-year-old mine, so it wouldn't quite look like that. But at least the size appropriateness of it would.
Well, the height of it, I definitely would like to see the balloons to see the height, because we don't want to obstruct the view of the mountain for the rest of the town.
It's about the same height as the trees there from the concept.
And to me, it looks like that wouldn't be appropriate from viewing that area. George, are you on? I didn't know if George Christian was on or not.
I didn't see his name listed, Mike. Darren, is George on? Can you tell? I didn't see his name listed, so I don't know.
Okay.
If he is, Mike. But
Mary Jo, that looks like, to me, that looks like it's showing it larger than it would be for the depth that it's off of Midland 24, that it wouldn't in fact, see, that's kind of showing it in front of the trees. And in fact, it's supposed to be set back something like 40 to 60 feet beyond the parking lot. And to me, that looks like it's sitting right up on the parking lot.
it does me too. And judging from the size of that truck, that's huge.
Right, and it wouldn't be, and correct.
Yeah,
correct.
so I'm not sure we should panic yet and go by this drawing, because I'm not sure that's what
Yeah,
you
because
wanted.
it's going to have to be behind the trees. Those
Tom
trees
did send us another file in that same email. It's a .kmz, and he says that if we open, should place the building conceptually in Google Earth. So I've tried opening it. Doesn't look like I have the correct software for it on my computer.
Okay,
But that's something I can mess around with, and if I can get any better, more accurate
yeah.
depiction here, then I can send it out to everybody. So I'll keep working on that.
It appears that the trees are taller than that tower.
Mike, this that he's really talking about it and seeing actual drawings and discussing this before we decide. Can this wait? Can this be just move back a little bit more and wait a little bit? And I'd like to hear comment from the rest of the board on that.
Well, I think that's a question for Mike more than for us.
Yeah, Mike first, and then the board can comment as well. Can you hear us, Mike? Did we lose you? We apparently lost Mike.
Did we lose everybody? Hello?
Is anybody home?
No.
Can you hear me now?
I see George
Okay, there we go.
Christian listed with his hand up.
We froze for a second.
I can see Ellen, she's eating something. Oh, pretzels.
Pretzels. I got hungry.
I can see Tanner. I waved at you, but you can't see me.
Can I chime in? Are you there?
Jerry, I think we lost Murph and trying to get him back on.
Darren has his hand up.
Just had a phone call from George Christian. Said he is on, just can't have any access to speak anything. Can't seem to chat either. So,
I just promoted him to panelist.
okay. He did say that the rendering is not at all correct. We've determined that. But anyway, that was it from George. So, in order to advance, we'll need to pay NES. We'll likely incur some additional costs and need to know if that's okay with the board and to what degree is that okay? $2,000 more.
Yeah, I could see that. It seems like we're already in for the fees, so I guess we should go further. And I think it's worthwhile to see the conceptualization.
I'm okay with the fees.
Would we get a little more accurate, rendition of this that doesn't even seem somewhat legit depiction?
Yes.
That's how the renderings look. Yeah, they seem like I guess maybe what I was looking for is a little, I guess it comes further along, like architectural drawings with heights and square footage and things like that. And that's probably what I was expecting erroneously.
But I think that'll come.
Can anyone hear me now?
Hello, this is George. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
This is George speaking. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Is it appropriate that I speak now? I don't want to interrupt in the middle of your meeting. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been on since the beginning, and for some reason I couldn't raise my hand or I could just observe. But just a quick comment. I didn't understand from the original, the first drawing, where Mike's yogurt building. There's something missing there. But the rendering, if I had awakened in the middle of the night and saw that rendering, I would have thought I was having a nightmare. It has, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why John spent time doing it. It's not in the right location. It's not even in the right historical time frame. It has nothing to do with anything other than it's maybe a similar footprint. Not even, I wouldn't even say a footprint. I would not have recognized what that was without the preference of telling me what it was. So that's a huge disappointment that time's even been spent or wasted. But more than anything, it's kind of like when a lawyer makes a statement and then has it overruled and the judge says, erase that from your mind. I would say, how do you erase that image from your mind as you decide on what Mike is talking about doing here? Because to me, that's a detriment to the whole process. That's my mild comment.
Yeah, I agree. Can you guys see and hear me now?
Yes.
We
Okay,
can.
great. Good to see everybody. Finally. George is accurate. In fact, I didn't even know that John had anything to work from or with. There's been no discussions about how to do so. I don't think George has presented him anything. So, like I mentioned, with the exception of some outside exterior lines, but they would need to be set back much more substantially. I didn't expect it to have near the prominence in that picture that it would have. I would have thought it would have been reduced at least by a fourth or a third as you're looking at the mountain view. So anyway, just wherever we are in the concept, again, I agree with George that doesn't represent. And what we are waiting on, I don't know, I think Ellen, you had asked the question or made the comment that you were waiting on renderings or you're expecting a picture, which is exactly what we want to produce. So we have discussed with George's architect draftsman doing that. I think he's pretty much on the ready to go. However, we didn't want to spend, he's got to draw the whole building. He told us he can't just do a rendering. It's not going to be accurate if we don't, in fact, do a floor plan and a footprint, which is acceptable. So based on that, we're kind of wanting a little bit of idea. And I know we've discussed the concept of maybe doing a balloon float or something to show where that will fall, because we don't really want to invest $10,000 or so in drawings only for the DDA to go, nah. And yet, if we draw, I guess we could attempt an elevations type look, and we're willing to do that, but with the understanding of knowing that could definitely have to be adapted when we do the full footprint. You know, elevation drawing won't cost much, and the one you just saw has no very minimal, maybe 10% representation of the reality. So that's our question. We don't want to proceed and get 10 grand in without some kind of knowledge that that type of structure will be accepted for that area. Otherwise, I think anything, the secondary structure that was going to be required would probably have to be moved further down south on lot 2 in order for it to be acceptable, because it's wider in structure and would typically hide more of the mountain view. So it might not be as tall, but it would be wider. So with those kind of things, we're just trying to find the right pathway to in which to proceed without a huge amount of additional expense, and also without expense occurred by the DDA there also on the NES drawings.
Well, I would like to comment on that, and I agree. And, you know, just to pay NES to do things that are not relevant is a waste of money. I don't want to do that. I think that we need to have maybe a little more dialogue before we give them a lot more drawings. And, you know, that the pictures we saw in the beginning don't look at all like this one. So I would hate to even address this new rendering, because I don't like it and I don't think that's what you want.
And we know it's not a good we know it's not a good representation and accept it. If head frame looks way different than that gray block that was up there. So
Exactly.
I've already wiped the gray block out of my mind. So rest assured, George, we're taking that into I'm taking that into consideration anyway.
So I think we should just move on with the project. And, you know, I want to say, talking about the yogurt shop, we have a yogurt shop pretty much like what you want to open up here on Main Street, right here on the corner of the block. I didn't know if you knew that or not. I'm sure we'll get a little pushback when they find out that's what you're talking about opening up over there too. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Well, thank you, Mary Jo. I appreciate that. And that's something that we are concerned about as well. In fact, I had a conversation with Jerry just about a week or so ago, since he wanted to know if I was real. And in that conversation, we discussed the fact that, number one, the concept that I'm doing, where it would be proposed as the restaurant is where it would be on that site plan. Well, first of all, we're not just tied into necessarily doing a yogurt shop, although that is one of the proposals certainly on the table. But it also is a full dessert, after dinner type shop. So there's tons of things that are offered. But one of the first things that I would do is I'm not interested in hurting any present businesses that are there. In fact, I want to bring support, add value to them. And I probably would entertain having discussion with that gentleman to see, you know, where he is on his actual business, how the success level, would he have any interest in involvement, etc. So I would definitely entertain a conversation with him, because again, we're looking to have a wholesome family entertainment with appropriate food and beverages to concept for the whole area. If yogurt had to be excluded from that, then it wouldn't be a yay or a nay for it. It wouldn't change anything for us.
Okay,
we have several possibilities that we could do instead.
Okay, that's good to hear. And I know that would fit in well with the miniature golf that you're talking about. And that is that still on the table?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay.
In fact, one of the kind of ideas that we're having to lean toward is we want to lean toward what's already happening. And I think Murph had as big a play in this as anyone, as he kind of noticed. He says the timelines that are, and Tanner as well, but the timelines that were really effective for great commerce in the area, and they're limited. Now we are looking for when the entire area is phased out, we're looking for things that would draw people annually and would still have maybe more of a spring and a winter draw. But for the most part, we're going to try to hit those prime seasons that are open. So miniature golf is one. We'd also have some indoor entertainment that will draw, and the beef jerky experience building. Part of that building that you didn't see is actually has an entertainment concept. It's very popular new entertainment. That'll be a draw right there on. That's why we're trying to get it as close as we can to Midland Avenue. But yeah, we're gonna, as we've considered things as the rodeo, a zip line, amphitheater, miniature golf, and event barn, those kind of things. As you can see, we've now even proposed some glamping area there. We're trying to hit in season, around the festivals, around the things that Woodland Park is already successful for. So the short answer is yes, ma'am, that still is included, as well as more than likely a partial indoor miniature golf course as well as other entertainment venues inside of that.
Okay, good.
Mike, I have a question for you. I've got
Is
a
this
young
Murph?
gentleman. It is Murph, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
About I don't know, about a week ago, a young man approached me, and he's wanting to build a shop. Okay, says he needs about a 2,000 square foot area shop, and I said, well, you know, you might look over here. And he's a disabled veteran, just finished gunsmithing school, but he's interested in possibly doing actual weapons manufacturing. Okay, is that anything you could see possibly being in that shop? Because he's an excellent gunsmith, but he
Well,
wants. Go ahead.
No, you finish.
No, I just I told him what the price of the property would be. I said, great location. I said it might be a little bit pricey for the property, but here's possibilities. So I wanted to approach it. You were talking about possibly engaging the yogurt guy, and Ray is a good young man. Like I said, disabled veteran that just finished gunsmithing school, and does some extremely good work. And he wants to build high-end hunting rifles. So is that
Well,
you would?
I'm not totally sure about that, Murph. I'd have to process it a little bit more. I don't like to make a decision on the spot. I don't think that's
Yes, sir.
wise. But I'm not sure if it fits in. That seems to me that fits more into an industrial. Now, if he wanted to have, depending on the size of the actual industrial part of the shop as opposed to the retail, if he, we're certainly open to some retail, and there's even some space for that.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it concludes or if that's going to be the best use of the property. And I would certainly let the whole DDA have say, as we have all along in this process, as to if that fits the whole concept.
Well, he was looking at doing sporting, some sporting goods as well that are in the shooting lineup, like scopes and retail stuff. And his total requirement was about 2,000 square feet, is what he was talking. So anyway.
Yeah, again, I'd have to probably defer to some more input from the DDA as to their desire to do that. I can't say that I fully see it right now that would be the best use. But again, we're open to. In fact, many of the concepts that have come forth and ideas that have come forth from the board, from Tanner's representation of things that city residents have said in the past, local polls. So absolutely we moved back I forget it was 40, 50, 60 feet, whatever it is, everything except the beef jerky experience building that's going to have the entertainment and then a couple of George's Telluride units in it. We gave that additional space as recommended. I also created the see-through way that you discussed, Murph, that would draw people down there. So we're certainly open to ideas.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Just all of them are not going to fit.
Okay.
I understand that. But I'll give you a call later. I have a concept that I have not shared with anybody, and I'm going to I'll talk to you about it, see if it might possibly be something you'd be interested in. And it's in the entertainment arena.
Gotcha. We welcome every idea. I fully am aware that we're not the end all be all, and we don't have the best ideas, but I'll sure steal them. and by steal them, I mean legit. I'll sure
Yes, sir.
entertain them, perhaps a better word.
Yeah. Well, I think we can work together on this. We certainly have so far. If there's no more, I would like to suggest that this whole building, that we readdress it, think about it at our next meeting. And I think that we need to have a live meeting. Maybe Mike would like to electronically view in, but I think that we could discuss this better if we had a little bit better idea of what that proposal will look like. So I'd like to suggest we just table that building and discuss it at the next meeting, wherever it needs to go. Does that work for you, Mike? Can you?
Yes, ma'am, I would. And whenever we do have that next meeting, I guess we should have a discussion as to, do we want to do the balloon float? Or do you want to have a rendering that's subject to change that you somewhat pre-approve? Or what's the best plan of action? That's what should be discussed.
Okay. We'll talk, the negotiating committee can talk with you more about that and have a little bit better information at the next meeting. So that's good. Okay. So we'll move on. We have members and structure of the negotiating committee. Tanner, did you have a comment? You put that in there. Did you have a comment on that?
No, that's just a recurring item on the
Okay.
agenda in the event that the board wishes to make changes to the structure of the committee,
Gotcha.
add members, change members, etc.
Okay. All right. Then we'll move past that. We go to the business support initiatives. We have the Woodland Park Music Fest. The rodeo committee, we asked at the last meeting for approval to use the property. We've got that in motion. It's all set to go. We've got insurance, we've got liquor license, so we have everything but the bands. The bands are going to want paid. Now we're down to the bottom line. There will be a fee to come, and the beer and the wines will be part of the funds raised. We need to find sponsors. And I guess what I'm asking, does the DDA, do we have money that we could put in to help sponsor this music fest to kick Woodland Park off? To get it opened up again and get it ready for summer. Murph, you have a comment.
Okay, one of the things that everybody's missing, of course, we have live entertainment here at the UDN. One of the things that the bands are missing is being able to get back out into that arena. So I'm going to go forward and talk to some of these folks, because a few have approached me and offered free gigs to get things kicked back up and open. And I might defer one of my free gigs, or, you know, the free gigs for here at the business itself, to the opening event and ask them to donate that time. So I know there's a couple of them that will. And that way, if we have to give any more than that, we can stretch the dollars a little further.
Thank you, Murph. That's awesome. Ellen?
You know, I think that sounds great and very possibly exciting. Do we need to have an okay from the Teller County Commissioners to have an event where people will be meeting that many people, or the city's okay? How are we working with that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've already talked to the county. This is the end of the month, so it could go either way. It's designed to be postponed a week at a time.
Okay.
We've got to move forward with something, or we'll be sitting here in August wondering if we can go outside yet. So we've taken all that into consideration,
Okay.
and I have talked with this county.
Good.
Can give us some information about the city requirement?
It's gone through the city. The city has not any objection to it. We're going through the process, so it's moving forward. We don't seem to be getting any pushback yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I can weigh in real quick. I know we've discussed it as well at the city, and just we're just waiting. I think May 26th is the end of the current stay or safer at home order, if I remember correctly. And so we're waiting to see if that would be extended, which could have a further impact. If there isn't a release to go to 250 number for a large enough event, I guess. So the safer at home order, if you look in the reverse order, it was restricted from 250 to 10. So if it's going in backwards, the 250 number could potentially allow for that.
Okay, and I want, Nick Pennell has been hauling picnic tables. So we've got several more picnic tables coming from the sheriff's department, and they'll be spaced out for distancing so that groups can just be around their table and distance from others. We have got 3 face masks that are in line to come down for the event to give away. So, precautions will be taken as much as possible, but we need to do something to get our economy started, and this seemed to be the easiest and the best. So, moving forward then, if the DDA has any money that we can put towards this, if we don't use it, we don't use it. If we have to use it, we have got it there to use. Let's go on to the pressure washing. Tanner, before I go to you about the development of that, Al Hagedorn offered to help reopen Woodland Park. His donation will be $500 towards the pressure washing. And he'll make that check out directly to the pressure washer, so there'll be no problem with who had the money and who did what. Tanner, go ahead.
If I may, Mary Jo, I wanted to ask you about the money you're asking for the music fest. Yeah, I might have missed it, but is there a specific dollar amount you have in mind?
Are you asking for the music festival?
Right. How much were you thinking might be needed to?
Well,
ensure that?
if we can get the bands to do some lower prices, we had come up with a budget of $2,500 to put this on.
Okay. Well, for regarding pressure washing, I've reached out to the contractor that we've used in the past. He is available. Just needs to give us a bid and coordinate with the city. So that's where we're at. I had a time scheduled to talk with Kip Wiley over at the city about this, and then missed it because I ended up busy with a customer. So I wanted to follow up with him to coordinate the efforts and see when we can get it done, and if that works for the contractor that we've used in the past. I'm just staying the course with that contractor. He's relatively inexpensive. He's local. We've used him before. This is what they do. So unless the board gives me some other direction for finding somebody else or taking other bids or whatever, then that's what I'm doing.
Great, Tanner. Do you think that it would be possible, Tanner and Darren, that this could be done before the 30th and 31st?
I think so. The last I heard from Kip Wiley was that he was planning to have the city crew clean the public right of way before Memorial Day.
Okay. All right. Then we can plan on that. Let me know who the contractor is, and I will contact Mr. Hagedorn. So I thought it was a
Peter Home Restoration.
okay. That was a very generous offer, so we're glad to have it. Glad he could participate. Any more on this pressure washing from the board? Anybody have any?
I have a question for the board. What's the scope of work here? How far do we want to go with cleaning?
You mean where to start and where to stop?
Yeah, what's our goal?
Well, I would say from the Shamrock Station to Tweeds at least. Any comment?
Both sides of Highway 24?
Highway 24, both sides, yeah.
Part of it's already been power washed is if you just take notice, a little pergusted about that we got to play by the rules, but not everybody. So not everything on 24 needs to be power washed, just so you know.
Okay, Murph, you got something?
No, I
Okay.
know exactly what he's talking about, though.
Okay,
I watched him power washing.
okay. Then we'll move forward with that. Tanner, please let us know and keep the board informed when this will happen so that we can help prepare the businesses that it will come. Okay? Moving on to community marketing. On that note, this music festival will be a kickoff. I think community marketing to shop local is important most important is to get our businesses open again. It's going to take at least 1 to 2 weeks before people really get out and start shopping anyway. But if the businesses can be open, at least they're there and encouraging the public to come out. I would think that if we can push that, I don't see much support from the county or the city on that. I think that we're being monitored by paranoid people. Say it. Anyway, I don't want to see that happen. We need to get our town back open. So, what are your comments on community marketing?
What is the date for the Music Fest again?
30th and 31st. That's the weekend after Memorial Weekend.
Well, I know tonight the promotions committee of Main Street, along with Gail Wingard and Lynn Jones and Nicole Randolph and myself, we're having a Zoom meeting at 6 o'clock, and we could discuss it. So I just throw that out.
Thank you, Ellen. Is that open to the public? That we could at least watch?
I guess you could talk with Lynn Jones about it, and it's
Okay.
usually a very informal meeting. So I would just talk with her, and I'm sure you would be welcomed, or anyone else who, Jan, or anyone else who would like to be there.
Okay.
Hey, can I make a quick comment in response to a question put out there by Val, who's watching the meeting? And he makes a good point, and that is that we need to be very careful of how we're spending monies and all. And when it's talking about, contributing to this music fest and all, we have to be careful because we're under very much scrutiny, and we shouldn't take that lightly. If we can fund it through donations throughout the community, but in my opinion, we need to be cautious.
Okay, under point taken, I understand. However, it's hard to go to businesses that have been closed since March 17th and ask them to give money
Sure.
to
Right.
help.
Well,
I mean, they don't
way
have
to
any
do-
money, and I would look for some of the agencies that are here to support the community for help. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I want people, us to consider that and not take lightly, our contributions.
Mary Jo,
Yes, Jen.
I've got a message from I saw from the mayor asking about the possibility of using a DJ, maybe as fill-in or whatever. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, well, they cost me too.
That's
So.
true. Maybe we could find somebody with a generous heart.
Okay, point taken. I do have a couple of DJ's phone numbers, so point taken. Okay.
Yes.
Any other community marketing comments? If not,
The Mountain Jackpot is running some special rates right now to help businesses promote reopening. Don't know if you guys have seen the rates, but they're really pretty good. I just bought a full page, full color ad in the paper for, I think it's $185.
cool.
So businesses with their logos, maybe their addresses, just announcing that they're open.
That's good.
That might
Good.
help get the word out.
Thank you,
I
Jen.
take phone calls all day here at Tweeds from people calling just to ask if we're open. Are we allowed to be open? Can they come up? What are the restrictions? We're open. We have been for a while now, but nobody knows it. And maybe we need to help get the word out.
If I got a hold of Comcast, would anybody be interested in doing a collaborative commercial for Woodland Park?
I
Yes.
would.
It's about, what did it cost us last time? About $1,700 for 400 plus, like 470 commercials over a 30-day period on the Comcast network. We can get Charlie Chambers to come over and do it and push the promotions that way. I'd be willing to throw a few bucks out of my own pocket to get that done and help coordinate it and get it done. So
Marty and I would do that for the Cowhand.
You can count on us too.
All right, Jerry.
Do that. But
So,
in regards to Tanner's point, I think that, you know, for $180, that the DDA should maybe have a coming out notice. And as we represent the businesses, so this is a point where we should, that would be money, not a ton spent, but let's inform the public what the conditions are, what is open, how it's all working, and I think that that's what we should do.
So are you saying spend some of the DDA money to throw into this pot as well?
I'm saying to take out a full page ad in the jackpot, support a small business here, but inform
Okay, so you're
the,
on the paper and we're on the commercials. Okay,
bye.
okay. Got it straight. Thank you, Jerry. Well, we will contact some other businesses, see if they'd be interested in that, Merv. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to do it ourselves because we're not going to get any help from the city and we're not going to get any help from the county. They're going to hold us back as long as they can. And I think that we have to do something. There will be businesses that will not survive this. And I feel sorry for them.
well, Mary Jo, face it, at least now we have a very military regimented structure in place that is top down. America is now top down driven, and you know, we answer to the commanders. So, and it's for our own good and safety. So let's just get used to it. It's the new normal. I'm sorry, my sarcasm
sound
is
like a
my
socialist.
sarcasm is a superpower some days.
All right, moving forward. If there's no more on the community marketing, is there any other topic? I do have one here that Robert Zulaga was questioning the trees. Do we want to spend any money in the trees are free again? The trees have to be moved in the next week or so because the sap has started up, and they will have to be watered. I told Robert I would bring this up. What is your feeling on planting some trees next to the trailer park?
Front of
Any
the
comment?
fence.
Yes.
I think we'd be better off with our advertising in the jackpot or on TV as opposed to the trees. That's my opinion.
Okay. Any others?
Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you, Ellen.
Yeah,
agree with Ellen on that. With the development plans, development pending pretty soon, I think now's the time to maybe hold back on expenditures like that.
Okay.
I agree with that. And we might put the trees someplace that Mike doesn't really want them there. So I think that instead of spending the money on that right now, we better hold off on that.
Okay.
I talked to Robert last night. The concept was to plant the trees along the fence line down on the southern side, create something of a screen, okay? Improve the view a little bit maybe. And yeah, I mean, it's if the trees are free and we can get maybe keep Woodland Park beautiful to engage in it, to help plant them somehow. But also I'm gonna right now the advertising schematic that will be paid for by merchants. I don't expect the DDA to pay for that.
Yeah, in regards to trees along there, usually when you're doing a barrier type and a fast growing tree, you'd use a popular type, and those are make good screens, and they're relatively inexpensive. It's just with a pine tree, you know, I don't know, what do you get? 6 inches of growth or something a year and on. I don't think it would do. I don't think you're getting your bang for your buck, even if you're not paying for them.
Yeah, true that. I mean,
George
it's,
or Mike.
Jan, I'm sorry, we didn't hear you.
Maybe we should ask George or Mike how they feel about this, and if we can plant them as a screen and they have no objection. You know, we don't want to interfere with their plan, but obliterating that trailer park would be great.
in more ways than one.
What type of trees are they, Jerry? You were making
They're
reference.
ponderosa pines.
Okay.
Well, that's what Mary Jo's got, but and in order to make an effective screen, most people will plant popular trees, which grow, you know, 40, 50 foot tall in a matter.
But poplars don't grow. Do poplars grow up here?
Yes.
Okay.
They die pretty quick too. They don't last that long, Jerry.
Well, okay, once again, so before we go too far on this, Robert really wanted to bring this up. The trees will always be free. We have the ponderosas. We can do it at any time. We can do it next year, if not this year. But he did want to push this. And I think that pretty much the answer has come out. We're not quite ready yet. So, shall we just table this and move on?
Love the idea of the trees, but I completely agree with Jerry. I think if we get those ponderosas like what we've already installed at the property, it's not going to have the effect that we're thinking.
No, they don't grow very fast up here.
No.
Right. We'll spend the
They
money.
grow big and strong, but they don't grow fast.
Right. Right.
Okay. Well, let's move on then to general discussion. Does anybody have anything they would like to say?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Since we passed the resolution recommending reinstatement of the sales tax vendor's fee and elimination of the business license fee, I have approached the Main Street Board, asking them to consider those issues as well and consider adding their support to that resolution. They held a special meeting yesterday solely for the purpose of discussing those items. City manager presented, superintendent for schools presented briefly, and then I presented some information as well. There was healthy discussion. They didn't really come to any conclusions. They do have some concerns regarding whether or not supporting those public policy recommendations is within their scope, whether it's allowed by their bylaws, et cetera. In any event, the discussion has been taken up by Main Street Board. Overall, I think it was a very healthy discussion, and if they come to any conclusions regarding support for that resolution as we move it forward to the council, then I'll let you know. As far as moving that recommendation forward to the council, recognizing the complexities of local politics right now, and that we have a new mayor, new council members, dealing with some new issues and under new circumstances, all on a new forum like Zoom. I've chosen not to push the issue forward yet, but to give them some time and let the dust settle a little before bringing our recommendations forward. Is that okay with the board?
It's okay with me.
I'd like to propose a solution to all this at the end of the day. That if the city would be so kind as to realize the cost of doing business and not charge surcharges to the citizens of Woodland Park or the businesses for credit card transactions, I would be willing to give this up completely.
Okay, there's Murph's 2 cents. Tanner, thank you for doing that, and thank you for participating in those meetings. So do keep us abreast, because we have very little voice for the businesses of Woodland Park, and it looks like we might be it. So thank you for hanging in there and keeping us informed. Anything else? Any other discussion? Do we have any audience participation? I don't know how to do that with this, but I'm asking. Darren, do you hear any audience participation? I would guess that's a no. So if we have no further
Mary Jo?
comment, yes,
Somebody just raised their hand by the looks of it.
Sure.
I missed it.
Oh,
Who?
wait a minute. Here we got some Q&A.
Yeah, 1 second. It's Deb Miller.
Some
1
donation
second.
money.
She wants to say something.
For the sheriff's lunch thing on Saturday and Sunday.
Deb is now able to talk.
Hi, Mary Jo. Can you hear me?
Yes, Debbie.
Hey, I wanted to let you all know we have a virtual lunch and learn that is going to happen on Thursday. You can join us by Zoom. We have Jane Mannon with CUSP is going to be talking to us about mitigation. We all know we're getting into the dry season and how important that is, especially in light of this pandemic and our limited resources that we have. So you can go to our website, woodlandparkchamber.com, look at the date on the 7th and be able to sign up for that webinar as well. And then for those of you, Murph, Mary Jo, Tanner, all of you who've reopened your businesses, we have been given, there were handmade masks donated to the city. The city is using us as a distribution point. We've had numerous requests for these masks and gloves. All you have to do is call us and tell us what your need is, and we'll set up a time to make sure you get these. So get that word out that those are available to everyone.
Okay, thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
On that note, I do have a source for gloves at through a vendor, and if I can get a hold of them, I'll make them available. But I've got to see what the availability is right now. Everybody's about to find out just how, as I run a restaurant, and gee, I go through about around 7,500 gloves a week. Everybody gets to find the joy of paying for gloves. It's gonna be awesome.
Okay, Debbie, thank you for that information. We made note of that. Are there any other comments from the public? Is that it, do you think?
Okay.
I mean, that's it here. I mean, comments from the public. Are there any others?
Any other comments, Darren?
No comments for me. Thank you.
I have a comment.
Yes, Ellen.
It's of interest. We're not sure what is going to happen with the July 5th Symphony Above the Clouds, but I do have t-shirts and sweatshirts. So you can just get in contact with me. I'd be glad to deliver them to your business or your home or wherever. So
Well, thank you, Ellen. Yeah.
One-
And Ellen bought a book the other day, a railroad car book. So she's been a donator for our fundraiser over there. So thank you, Ellen. Tanner, you have something?
One each of the shirts and sweatshirts, please.
okay, great. I'll bring by a size selection. Yes, I'll be by. Thank you.
Thanks, Ellen.
Mhm.
Okay, any other comments? If not, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? I need a second.
Second.
Okay, we got a second by Tanner. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the meeting's adjourned. I hope this is the last one. Let's try to have the next one live in person at Murph's.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Ain't scared.
That was grueling.